All right, we're live. Testing for a second. This is my first stream. Can I hear it? All right, we're live. Yes, I can hear it. Okay, good. So, shout out to Samantha Rodgers, first of all, for giving me the background image of the stream. As you can see, Marshall Lynch is completely dumpstering the Dallas Cowboys guy like he did for his whole career, and he's probably one of my favorite Seahawks players of all time. So shout out to Samantha Rodgers because I cannot take credit for making the image. I mean I just think that's a really badass desktop image for a birthday gift when we used to work together. But anyways, this is my first time trying to do a live broadcast on YouTube about the Seahawks. In fact, it's my first live broadcast about anything. And the only reason I'm really trying to do this is just because I feel like lately when I've listened to ESPN Seattle, for example, it feels disingenuous. I feel like I'm listening to a bunch of guys or girls that are just towing the line. They're just saying, okay, everything's fine. And it's almost like a joke to them. I don't feel like they're telling us the truth. I feel like I feel like even listening to ESPN Seattle lately for most of their segments is like an insult to my intelligence. It is a slap in the face to any real Seahawks fan to listen to their bullshit because most of the time they're just saying the party line, like they're towing the line and they're trying to appeal to the mass audience. They're trying to appeal to the fan that doesn't know jack shit about the team. They're trying to appeal to the fans that have no idea anything about what the hell is happening with the Seahawks team. And that is our mainstream radio. It's probably fucking making like a decent living. So, in light of that, I feel like I should just try to make one little broadcast for fun. It's mostly just for fun. I want to see how well I can articulate my ideas to the team compared to really stupid fucking ESPN Seattle takes. I want to or I want to throw shout outs to a few channels that already exist on YouTube that are doing basically what I'm trying to do right now, which is to give Seahawks fans a realistic and valuable perspective that's not like biased or just trying to like uh, appeal to like the lowest common denominator, like low IQ fan or something, or casual fan. There's a few channels that are actually trying to do a very good job, and I think they are doing a very good job of appealing to intelligent Seahawks fans, and they're giving us a lot of information and a lot of insights and a lot of research that myself I have not done a lot of this like research and stuff. Like sometimes they say all this stuff that I have no idea what they're talking about, but I can understand the effort and the integrity it takes for them to project realistic and accurate and worthwhile content for Seahawks fans. So one of those channels is well, let me make sure I get them right. I'm gonna go to YouTube right now just to make sure I don't fucking misquote any of the channels. I think I already know what they are, but so one of them is Seahawks Brendan Nelson. Does daily videos. He does a lot of research. He spends like literally hours just like breaking down all these like different scenarios of what we should do in the off season with all these kind of scenarios of which players, which coaches, which fucking even like passing coordinators, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, like all this kind of shit that nobody will really ever do, especially on like It's Me in Seattle or something like that. So Seahawks Brendan Nelson, that's one good channel. We have the Seahawks Nest, I think. The Hawks Nest. That's also a very solid channel. He gives long, free-form content with his viewers, and he'll actually respond to all of their comments. Like I think he responds to almost all of their comments, or if not all of them. Like it's amazing. Like uh, so he's a really good, fan-friendly guy that wanna, and he knows his shit. So if you want to talk to someone who really is passionate about the Seahawks, that's I think the Hawks Nest and Brandon Nelson are both great channels. And then I think there's one more I'm trying to remember. What the hell is it? It's like fuck. It's some kind of CX podcast. I don't remember the name of it. I should be able to find it in a second. Uh, oh, Rob Staten. Um, Rob Staten is actually a channel. I think he lives in UK or something, but um, he gives an honest, pretty good review of the team. And there's one more. Actually has more than one. Fuck. Might need to look at my history one. Because I've seen the videos, but I can't channel off the top of my head. I have it favorited. Shit. Um, yeah, give me a second. This channel I'm using right now is not the channel I normally or when I watch. This is the channel I use to upload YouTube. Yeah, Real Hawk Talk. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Real Hawk Talk by Hawk Blogger. Real Hawk Talk by Hawk Blogger. So yeah, those are 4 channels that I wanted to kind of acknowledge before I begin my own speech or attempt to give a good detailed analysis of how things are going. So shout out to all those 4 channels. I don't think I could try to make my own video without giving them a shout out first, because this is just an experiment for me. I just want to see if I can articulate my thoughts and if anybody cares. I doubt anybody's going to listen to this, but if they do, thank you. All right, so first of all, we have to face the big elephant in the room. There's a gigantic fucking elephant in the room, and that is Aaron Rodgers. What the hell is going on with Aaron Rodgers? We're going to probably have to play him, but there's a lot of loopholes in what is going on with his particular situation that don't make a hell of a lot of sense. For example, under the COVID protocols, he's not allowed to show up to the facility for 10 days after testing positive for COVID-19 when he's unvaccinated. Think about that. He cannot show up to the facility for 10 days. That's the rules. However, he's required to go through 3 days of like the health training staff basically going through the rounds with him before he's even allowed to be eligible. So he's not allowed in the Green Bay Packers facility, but goddamn, I need to drink some more beer. Like this is hard to articulate. Jesus Christ. Like this is not an easy job. And this is why I gave those 4 channels a little bit of a shout out. I think if I get on a roll I can say what I'm trying to say, but yeah, just give me a second here. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Aaron Rodgers is not allowed to return to the facility for 10 days after testing positive for COVID-19. However, he's required to go through a 3-day process of like little, it almost sounds like there's like baby steps, or like, when you see those videos of the guy with his broken legs and he's has 2 rails on either side and he's kind of dragging himself along like, fuck, I'm trying to learn how to walk again. It's kind of like that. He has to go through 3 days of getting his shit together. And then he's eligible to return back to the training facility or to be eligible to play. So what we're looking at here is that from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would have had to be technically those 3 days where they allow him to, or the training staff is allowed to leave their facility because he's not allowed to enter their facility. Aaron Rodgers is technically not allowed to enter the Green Bay Packers facility for 10 days. And conveniently for him, the 10th day is the Saturday before he plays the Seahawks. So he has all these kind of like really intense restrictions indicating that he cannot return within 10 days. But the 10th day is the day before he plays us. Okay, so it's already looking a little weird. This is where I'm going to try to get into these areas that the mainstream media, ESPN Seattle won't cover. It's a little shady to begin with. Think about it. He's missing 10 days minimum, but the first day he's eligible is the day before he returns to us. However, he is required to demonstrate 3 days of progress with our training staff, and our training staff's not allowed to see him in their facility. The Green Bay training staff or health staff or whatever the hell they call it, they're going to have to go out of their facility to Wednesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they're going to have to demonstrate that Aaron Rodgers is having some kind of progress and acting like he has no COVID symptoms. So not only are they having to leave their facility because he's not allowed there, they're also required to verify his improvement Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for his eligibility to even be that's the first requirement of his eligibility to return on Saturday. He had to go, or maybe it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but that's pretty tight. So it was either Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He had to go through this specific fucking, very detailed, very specific, but yet very vague because there's no documented evidence of this ever having occurred in the history of the NFL. There is no evidence whatsoever in the history of the NFL of a player going through COVID protocol when he tests positive, as far as I know. He's an unvaccinated player and he tested positive. And he's the face of the NFL. I think we are in some very groundbreaking, like, nobody knows what the fuck is going on type of territory. If you think about it. Okay, so let's start over real quick. Aaron Rodgers is not allowed to enter the Packers facility for 10 days. After 10 days, when he initially tested positive, he is allowed to return under a number of conditions. The 10 days is Saturday, the very day before he has to play the Seahawks. One of the conditions is that he needs to test, he needs to show improvement to the training staff for 3 days prior to being allowed to play. How can we as fans verify that they actually did this 3-day thing? Think about it. How the hell do we know that they actually were checking in with them every single of those 3 days to make sure that, oh yeah, he passed these little like tests or whatever? We don't know that. There's no way to know that. In all likelihood, we're being lied to, and they're not actually doing that. Furthermore, the more important point is, why was Aaron Rodgers not being tested every single day after he tested positive? So he tested positive 10 days ago, or, whatever day he tested positive. Why is he not being tested the next day? Why is he not being tested the next 5 days? Why is he not being tested the next 9 or 10 days? As far as I can tell, he got tested positive once, and the NFL has all these loopholes to say, oh, this guy, he's our dude. He's the face of the NFL. He's one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, which I agree with. And I even agree with the fact that maybe he should have the right to not take a vaccine. Maybe he should have the right to be able to control what goes into his body. But that's not the point. We don't even have to get into that to look at what the NFL's doing, where they're just saying that this one guy he's going to test positive 10 days before his next game. We're not going to test him again for the next 10 days because he's not allowed in the facility. Yet, our health staff is allowed to leave our facility to give him that 3-day, little tap on the butt. Come on, you can do it type of procedure with no verification. No media is following it. So basically what I'm saying is that it seems like he tested positive, and even though our medical staffs or their medical staffs are able to leave the facility to test him all of those 10 days, let's be clear, if he missed 1 day of those testings, he tested positive the first day and he has to go 9 more days without testing positive. The NFL did not test him any of those 9 days. I don't understand that. And like I said, I'm not all about being required to take vaccines. I think that's really something I would not recommend for freedom. But we have to look at this strictly in terms of the NFL and their rules. And I'm probably repeating myself right now, but I'm just really trying to nail this point home. Aaron Rodgers tested positive 10 days before he has to play the Seahawks. Best case scenario, he doesn't test positive for the next 9 days, so he's eligible to play against the Seahawks. Here's the thing. He didn't have to test positive for 1 fucking single day. Since he tested positive, the NFL gave him a free pass for the next 10 days. Oh, you don't have to test positive again. And if it was something like American Freedom, or small business owners, or someone who wants to go to school, or a kid who wants to go to elementary school, or there's a lot of scenarios where I would say, damn right you're not going to fucking test them. Damn right. But when it comes to the NFL, we can't have these standards where Aaron Rodgers is immune to every single kind of test Whereas 90% of the league, they'd probably make an example of them and they'd say, oh, you know, Aaron Rodgers, he tests positive day one and he doesn't have to test again for the next 10 days. If any other player tested positive day one, there would be like a fucking random tester showing up at the door like 3 or 4 days or, whenever later, coming up to the door say, hey, we have to do a PCR test. The league and our management, our team is saying that it's required that you take a PCR test. You have to take this test. And the reason I'm making such a big point about this is because if Aaron Rodgers tested positive in any of those next 9 or 10 days, he misses an additional 10 days. So essentially, they're allowing him to go 10 days without taking another PCR test. Because if he did test positive, he would miss 10 more days. And it's just a little bit shady. It's probably really shady. I don't think it's even a little bit shady. It's very shady. He is literally getting a free pass from the NFL to literally have no more. Okay, let me put it this way. Why does this one player test positive for COVID-19? And from my understanding, someone who is unvaccinated is supposed to be tested every single day. Every day, they're supposed to test an unvaccinated player. But once Aaron Rodgers tests positive, they give him 10 days without being tested. That's up to the league discretion. The league gets to decide, should we test him or not? Technically, by the rules, if he's unvaccinated, he's supposed to be tested every fucking day. Literally every fucking day. But instead, they're saying, oh, you're already positive. You're not allowed to our facility for 10 days, even though our health staff is technically allowed, according to their fucking COVID mandates and their COVID rules. The Green Bay Packer health staff is allowed to visit Aaron Rodgers every single fucking day. But guess what? They ignored him the first 6 or 7 days. They never gave him another COVID test. They never said, hey, are you still positive for COVID the second day after you tested positive? If he was still positive the second day after he was positive, which in all likelihood he probably was, he would be ineligible to play against the Seahawks. Think about that. The best case scenario from him after he got tested was that he would return on Saturday, be eligible. But the NFL mandate is that unvaccinated players should be tested every single fucking day. So how come he's not going to get tested a single other time probably until Saturday? I think Saturday is the second test. So he's going to go from fucking like Thursday or Friday last week to you know what I mean? Like he's going like 10 days without getting tested, even though their policy is unvaccinated players should be tested every day. So this is why I'm making this podcast or this one show. I don't know if I'll do it again, but I think about the show all the time, so maybe I will do it. I'm passionate about the Seahawks. It's just a disgrace. It's a complete fucking disgrace. I mean, the NFL should literally get like whoever. Okay, so their policies make sense, but their policies are so vague and like elusive that they do not have to follow their policies. Their policies are that everyone who's unvaccinated needs to be tested every day. But if you test positive, like Aaron Rodgers, you might go 10 days. As far as I know, he's going to go up until Saturday for being tested again. Um, I don't know if they'll even test him again. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even fucking test him again. But I need to drink some more. I can't. I need to regain my thought process so much. Too much. So, like I said, if it was anything other than the NFL, I would have Aaron Rodgers back 100%. I would say, well, I don't want to offend people that are super pro vaccine. I'm going to be honest. If this was not the NFL, I would say, for fuck's sakes, man, like, you can't just like require this guy to get a vaccine to job. There's also a lot of speculation about how accurate the PCR test is. For anyone who's not familiar, the PCR test is the most commonly used um, COVID-19 test in the United States. I don't know if it's the most commonly used in other countries, but I'm assuming it. But anyways, the PCR test is by far the most commonly used COVID-19 test in the United States. And the inventor of the COVID-19 test, a guy named Kerry Mullis, and he won a Nobel Prize for inventing COVID-19. Well, he won the Nobel Prize for for inventing the PCR test. But essentially, that's what we're using for COVID-19. So you could basically say he won a Nobel Prize for inventing COVID-19 test. And he specifically states that he does not believe that the test that he won a Nobel Prize for. He says that you can't use it to specifically diagnose any kind of specific virus. Doesn't mean you're sick. It doesn't mean. He basically says that the PCR test is so effective that if you do it right, you can find anything in anybody. Meaning that if you abuse the PCR test and really try to how the PCR test is that you can do you get to choose how many like cycles basically. Like you can do like one cycle and you're like barely testing material. You can do two cycles and doubling your testing. And with a PCR test, you can choose how many times you replicate or repeat your test. And probably 90% of doctors use it like professionally, and they don't like vary their amount of cycles or how much they used it for individual patients or individual profits. Like, let's not even talk about how they get like uh, over $25,000 per like COVID patient. So there's incentive for them to misdiagnose it in the hospitals. If you get one COVID patient, you automatically get $25,000, or I think it's even or 32,000. You put them on like 38,000, something like that. So the PCR test is not very reliable, is my point. But if it's used like responsibly, if they run the same number of cycles for everyone, which is like the agreed upon amount that could detect COVID-19, I have no problem with it. I mean, I don't believe it. I don't think it's like the holy prophet he's his messiah walking down the fucking split ocean or something. But I think the PCR test does have a little bit of value for COVID-19 testing. It might be the best thing we have. But like I said, the Nobel Prize winning um, Kary Mullis, he won a Nobel Prize for inventing PCR tests. And in his own words, he basically says that you cannot use this test to diagnose specific illnesses, specific viruses. Doesn't mean you're sick. It doesn't mean you're contagious. In his own words, he says that if you run the PCR test well enough, which pretty much the PCR test is good enough that anybody can run it really well, basically says that you could find anything in anybody. So, under that pretext, in this historical knowledge that probably most of viewers, if anyone listens, uh, don't want to hear because it's very fucked up. But essentially, the guy who invented the PCR test, which is what we detect COVID in NFL players, is on record, video records, saying that it does not you're sick, it does not mean you're contagious, and that it can be used kind of it can be misused or misinterpreted to to make it meaningful when really it's all it does is replicate genetic material. So I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but I'm just trying to give the straw man, or what the hell is the word? I'm trying to give the other point of view, whole scenario. What if Aaron Rodgers is right? What if the PCR tests are bullshit? What if um what if it's just not worth listening? If this whole thing is just a waste of time and they're just trying to control people. So I'm not going to take a side on that, but I will say that the NFL took a very strict stance on this situation. They took a very strict stance on COVID, but they're contradicting themselves. They're shooting themselves in the fucking foot. They're saying COVID-19 is the biggest fucking deal we've ever seen in our lives, and every player needs to be fully responsible and vaccinated, and there's no room for any kind of error. Yet, they let Aaron Rodgers go for 10 days after testing positive without taking another COVID-19 test. Let that sink in. As far as I can tell, Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID-19, and under their protocol, anyone who is unvaccinated is obligated, required, um, possibly even fined, like on a daily basis. I don't know those details, but they're required to get tested for the COVID-19 with the PCR test every single day. But instead, we have a situation where he went off the grid. He's probably just chilling, like fucking smoking the bong or smoking the hookah, planning his next fucking all state, like whatever the hell insurance company he's working for, planning his next hippie fucking commercial. And then they and then they go, okay, well, we have to pretend to do 3 checks for you before you return to facility. And they probably just showed up and like drank a beer and had a high five with him. Like it's probably like one of his friends, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like they did any kind of serious work in terms of vetting him and making sure, hey, are you actually healthy? And I haven't even scratched the surface of. We haven't even talked about. They have requirements in their COVID-19 rules that you're supposed to display less symptoms, or you're supposed to display like, uh, you're supposed to be getting healthier, basically. How the fuck are they going to determine if you're getting healthier if you're not allowed in the facility for 10 days? And hold on, I need to open another beer. Oh, this is so hard to articulate. Yeah, let me drink a little bit. Fuck. Okay, so fuck. Okay, so I think first. I need to drink some. It's like it's so complicated, man. I don't really blame the mainstream media for not being able to cover this correctly because it's not exactly simple topics. I think they're intentionally misleading us and like acting like a bunch of fucking clown jackasses. But I respect their job though. This is not easy. And I might be a very I might be very far deep into the amount of beers I've had, and I'm still better than them. But it's not easy. So tip of the hat to them, I guess. Okay, so Aaron Rodgers basically defied all logic. He's not required to conform with any of their rules. How is that possible? How is it possible that we have these rules that anyone who's unvaccinated needs to be tested every day, and then you have the devil's argument or the devil's advocate that says, "Oh well, Aaron Rodgers isn't allowed onto the Packers training facility for 10 days, so obviously, you can't have Aaron Rodgers tested for COVID-19 if he's not allowed on the facility for 10 days." Well, then why is the training staff allowed to go see him off the training facility for 3 days for those required days to make sure he's like can pass these physical tests? It's complete fucking bullshit. The Green Bay Packers training staff is allowed to leave their facility for those 3 days to test him, give him a free pass. They probably just drink beers and laugh like, oh, fucking look at all these dumbass. They think I'm in trouble. So they're allowed to do that, but then if they're allowed to do that, then why are they not testing him for those entire 10 days? Every single day, he should technically be getting a COVID-19 test. So my point is that that entire legal construct, I don't know if it's even technically legal. It's more of like a entertainment construct or a media construct. Um, I don't think there's anyone that's trying to actually. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's one single fucking lawyer in the entire world who is actually trying to prove what I'm saying. That's how powerful the NFL is. Nobody is going to even attempt to prove this kind of shit that like a fucking like fourth grader, a slightly intuitive fourth grader could probably figure out what I just said. Like all this shit. It's not like rocket science. It's in plain sight. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID-19, and then he went 10 days without being tested again for COVID-19. He might get tested once on Saturday. I doubt it. If he does get tested, they'll probably just throw the results in the trash can. So that's where I stand on Aaron Rodgers. That's a big deal for me. I feel like the Seahawks are going to lose this game, and I feel like if the Seahawks lose this game, we're going to miss the playoffs. So that's why this whole controversy actually matters to me. Normally, I would say this is fucking hilarious. Like, our country is such a joke right now that we're just like worrying about like vaccination status and in terms of someone's job and stuff like that. So, like I said, if it wasn't the NFL, I would say leave him alone. None of your goddamn business about Aaron Rodgers' like health status. What the like? Who gives a fuck? You know. But the fact that it's going to directly affect the Seahawks in this way, and then some other player that might test positive will get completely different treatment than Aaron Rodgers. They might get actually like real fucking discipline. That's what's the fucking problem. I don't have a problem with if they were consistently saying we're not going to take COVID-19 seriously, ha ha ha. I would have no problem with how they reacted to Aaron Rodgers. But from my point of view, the only reason he got such light treatment and like they didn't follow their own protocols, and I think their protocols are like legally questionable. I think their entire protocol procedure is like very fucking bullshit. Like there's no like determining factors or proof of what they're doing. It seems like just a fucking hoax. I'm not saying COVID-19 is a hoax. I'm saying how the NFL is able to cherry pick how they respond to different players if they are positive. Seems like a hoax. If they really thought it was that fucking deadly, they would have tested Aaron Rodgers the day after he got tested positive. And if he tested positive again, he wouldn't be eligible to play us. So, yeah, that's basically what I was trying to get to this whole fucking time. I'm sorry I'm not very quick to make my point, but yeah. So that's where I land on the Aaron Rodgers situation, COVID-19 shit. Let's talk. Let's start talking about Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson is a very interesting character. If you go back to look at his college stats, if you can, if you compare his college stats to Andrew Luck, who was the first pick in the 2012 draft, they have almost identical stats. You cannot tell the difference between Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson in college. But Andrew Luck was the first pick. Russell Wilson was the. I need to look it up. Like what third round or something? I don't actually remember even. It's really bad though. So yeah, the first pick was Andrew Luck. The second, I think the second or pick might have been Robert Griffin III. And yeah, in the third round we got Russell Wilson. I want to see what pick he was though. So why is this fucking? Yeah, so Russell Wilson was drafted 75th overall in the 2012 draft. I think Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin were the first and second picks. Let's see. Give me a second. I don't have a great memory, so I gotta actually look it up. Yeah, so Andrew Luck was the first pick in the 2012 draft. Robert Griffin was the second pick. Ryan Tannehill was eighth pick. Stephon Gilmore was the 10th pick. Bruce Irvin, that was our first pick. The 15th pick. And for the record, I liked Bruce Irvin a lot. He wasn't like a Hall of Famer or anything, but he was a fucking solid player. Let me tell you, Cam Newton probably had nightmares about playing the Seahawks when we had Bruce Irvin, because Bruce Irvin fucking sacked them like one or two times every fucking time we played them. And it seemed like we played them every year, and Bruce Irvin just beat the shit out of Cam Newton. Let's see, anyone else? Uh, Oof, what? Wow. So yeah, Bobby Wagner was the 47th pick in the draft. Holy shit balls. It's incredible. I cannot believe we got Bobby Wagner and Russell Wilson so late in the draft. Like probably Hall of Famers. I think they I think they both are. You never know, but I think Russell and Bobby are Hall of Famers. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, so there we go. So Russell Wilson was drafted in the third round, 75th round pick, or 75th pick. That's incredible. That's actually incredible. Think about how the way he came in the first year, won the starting job. I need to look up his first season stats because it's unbelievable. I don't think he's had a bad season in his entire fucking career. And for the record, I mean, I don't know how much weight this brings, but I felt that Wilson was a top 5 quarterback in his first season. And a lot of the Seahawks fans did not feel that way. They thought that Andrew Luck was way better. A lot of people thought that even Kaepernick was better. Even in my own fan base, I was dealing with this scenario where everyone was saying that Wilson's not a top 5 quarterback. Too small. It was brutal. It was brutal to hear it as a fan because I knew he was really fucking special. But I understand their speculation. Um, Second. So, but yeah, the fact that it wasn't just the Seattle Seahawks fans. It was the general media, the professionals, the experts. They're all saying that Luck and Kaepernick, especially Luck, but even Kaepernick, they were saying that they're better than Russell Wilson. Why they said that? Only because they have more passing yards, or only because they were taller, or only because they were like Kaepernick could scramble like a tiny bit better, not even much better. So it was just a big. That just shows you how stupid it's when it comes to evaluating players. So let me look at his stats in his first 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, over 3,100 passing yards, over 64% completion, 100% passer rating. Yeah. So since the first year Wilson got here, 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, over 64% completion rate, 100% passer or 100 passer rating. Like I don't mean to say like that's like fucking unbelievable because that's like below average for his career, I think. Um, I think 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, lower than his career average in both categories. But it was a pretty damn good rookie season. No doubt about that. And the fact that they kind of cherry picked him and like, oh, he's too short. Oh, he's a third round pick. Oh, everyone doubted him. And at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make is how good does this fucker look compared to the rookies this season? Let's see what Trevor Lawrence is doing this season. Well, I saw a highlight video on YouTube, and I was like, "Damn, he actually looks decent. Like, he looks like he has some potential. Like, holy shit! Like, fuck, I wish the Seahawks could send a draft pick and not like waste it a couple years." But let's compare like his stats so far. So far, Trevor Lawrence has 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And he was the number 1 pick. Wilson was 26 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So if Trevor Lawrence wanted to match Wilson's touchdown to interception ratio, the rest of the season he would have to go 18 touchdowns and 1 interception. That's not fucking possible. He's not going to do that. His rating is 73.6, and Wilson's lowest rating in his entire career was over 90. He's averaging over 100 for his career. I'm pretty sure Wilson used to be like number 1 all time pass rating, or maybe number 2 all time pass rating, behind Aaron Rodgers for the first few years of his first career. So yeah, right now the best pass ratings of all time, number 1 is Patrick Mahomes, and he's fucking falling off a cliff this year. He is not going to be number 1 season probably. Like, he is playing like shit. Doesn't he have like the most interceptions in the entire league or something like that? Obviously, I haven't done my research. I'm kind of freestyling this. Let's see. Patrick Mahomes. NFL football reference. So this year, he's 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Yikes. That's not good at all. That's getting into like some what was Michael Vick's interception? let's see. Let me look at my picks stats. Obviously, he was a phenomenal talent, but his touchdown interception ratio is probably why he was never great. So yeah, his career was 133 touchdowns, 88 interceptions for Michael. So that's Patrick Mahomes this season with 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's a little bit better than Michael's career average, but it's trending in a bad direction. Compared to 2018, let's look at this. It's hard for me to even remember this. Patrick Mahomes was 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions in 2018. 50 fucking touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Then the next year he's 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Still a great ratio, but that's kind of like a modest year for Wilson in terms of touchdowns. Then in 2020, he has 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's phenomenal. And this year he's 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So, let's see. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes is still averaging 1.58 passer rating for his career, compared to Russell Wilson 1.23 passer rating for his career. But Patrick Mahomes is averaging 92.5. Well, not averaging. Patrick Mahomes is 92.5 passer rating this season, whereas Wilson is 125.3. So all indications are that Patrick Mahomes is starting to decline. He's only in his 5th year. In his 5th year, and that's a goddamn good 5 years. Even though his first year he only had a game played. So yeah, he's doing very well, but Russell Wilson is clearly an elite quarterback, and I need to go to the bathroom real quick. I need to reform my thought process. So far, my points have been Aaron Rodgers got a free, yes, he's basically got a free pass, like get out of jail free card by the NFL. And Wilson is in fact an elite quarterback, even though most experts thought that Andrew Luck and Colin Kaepernick were better than him when there was no data to test that. So Russell Wilson's been fighting an uphill battle his whole career. Yeah, I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. I would like to remind everyone that this is the first time I've ever attempted to do a broadcast live. Just my thoughts about the subject. So if I suck, give me a break. Okay. Anyways, let's get on to some serious subjects. As in terms of like, how are the Seahawks doing overall? This let's think about that first. Russell Wilson is like the most winningest quarterback in NFL history. Okay, that's pretty undisputable. How are you going to argue, oh, damn, I wish we didn't have the most winningest quarterback in NFL history for the fucking past almost 10 years? It's hard to argue against that. I think that's why this is such a controversial or touchy subject. How do you fucking approach this subject with a coach and a quarterback that are historically well, if you take a rookie quarterback and Russell Wilson with any coach, and then you say how many wins is he gonna have? That X amount of years, how many years he's been with us? He has the most fucking wins in NFL history. There's no quarterback in NFL history that has more wins than Russell Wilson in that amount of season, that amount of games, whatever. So it becomes very difficult to even approach this subject because you feel kind of dirty, even like questioning it. You feel like a little bit of a scumbag, just being like, well, XXX, like like whatever you're gonna say, you still feel like a little stupid just to even say it. It's almost like stomping on the burial grounds, Seahawks ancestors. You're pretty much saying that, oh, we don't care that they're the best Seattle team in fucking probably Seattle history. Maybe the Sonics were really good well, Jordan. But yeah, I mean, this is probably the best. Well, in my lifetime, I don't know the Sonics in the '70s or shit like that. I think they were actually, or I think they even won a title at some point, '70s or. So yeah, that's before my time. But essentially, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson are the best, or one of the best Seattle teams in our city's history. So I think that's why we're getting such shitty reporting, such shitty mainstream media coverage, such shitty local coverage. It's pretty much all bullshit. You can't believe a goddamn thing that any of these people related to the Seahawks are talking about because they're towing the line and they're okay. If we lose Russell Wilson, I think the entire media, like local media and everything, is gonna take it. It's gonna be like a 180. It's gonna be like they fucking nosedive off a cliff. They're gonna all of a sudden say, "Oh, of course, like blah blah blah. Like we knew this team sucked. Like blah blah blah. Of course, you know they're gonna make all these excuses. But right now they're pretending that nothing's wrong. They're giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're basically kissing Carroll's asshole, literally every single day. And maybe he earned that. Maybe he earned that right, but it's not accurate. It's not fucking accurate. So let's start talking about the flaws with the Seahawks. First of all, Jamal Adams. We gave 2 first-round picks, a fourth-round pick, and McDougal for Jamal Adams. Um, I haven't done the direct comparisons, but I would argue that McDougal was like pretty much as good as Jamal Adams has been for us. Jamal Adams is ranked 52 out of like 100, like 40. Pro Football Focus. Like, he's not even ranked in the top 32 safeties in the fucking entire league. We paid him like he's number one. So I'm not going to say that Jamal Adams. I'm not going to say it's 100% Jamal Adams' fault. I think that our coaches probably aren't using him. Ideally, they're probably not using him in his best of his abilities. But if he's fucking worth 2 first-round picks and basically an amount of dead money that we cannot move on from him. We're stuck with Jamal Adams, even with having $13 million of cap space that we're just sitting on like a thumb up our butt. Like, we have $13 million. Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. just got signed for $1.25 million. You know, um, even if we're just sitting in a thumb up our butt and letting the Rams take Odell Beckham for $1.25 million, they only had $3 million. Yes, he has some incentives, but essentially, if we wanted Odell, we could have paid like 4 times more Rams. We didn't want him. Our team is basically giving up. They're saying, "Fuck this season. Fuck trying to win." Russell is going to probably want to leave, and we do not believe that our $13 million could have given us a chance to like make a run in the playoffs. So it's a little difficult to deal with that. But let's get back to Jamal Adams. If we hadn't signed Jamal Adams, we would have 2 more first-round picks, and we would have this year. Jamal is only making like $5 million, but he's gonna make like exponentially more within the next few years. I think he's making over $20 million a season. There's no indication that he's going to be a good player in the next few years. If anything, there's an indication that he's already peaked. He's on a decline. So we're going to be paying Jamal Adams $10 to $25 million a year for next few years. He's already not good. So one can make a very good argument that this entire franchise, the Russell Wilson era, the Pete Carroll era, everything got destroyed by the Adams trade because, well, let me look up the stats. I can't just generalize. Let me look up his actual contract. Overthecap.com. Seahawks. Get Jamal Adams. So we owe him $5 million this year. Next year we owe him over $9 million. Year after that we owe him $18 million. Year after that we owe him $23.6 million. The year after that we owe him $24.6 million. And I'm talking about 2025. In 2025, we owe him $24.6 million. And if we wanted to cut him, we would still owe him over $7 million of cap space. Think about that. We still would owe him over $7 million in cap space in 2025. In 2024, we would owe him over $14 million of cap space. In 2023, we would owe him over $21 million. Wait. Yeah. 2024, we would owe him over $14 million of cap space. 2023, we would owe him over $21 million of cap space. And next year, we would owe him over $28 million of cap space. So let's say we pay him $9,110,000 next year, and we let him play out the full season next season. Say, okay, let's give him one more year. We gave up 2 first round picks. We gave up Gerald or whatever McDougal. Gave up a 4th round pick. All this shit. Let's give him one more year to see how he does. So next year we pay him $9 million, which is almost twice as what he got this year. And think of how bad we are this year, and we're not even paying him over $4 million more than we will this year. That's disturbing to be. And then next year, or 2023, so 2 seasons from now, we would owe him, or we do owe him, over $18 million cap. That's just a straight up cap number. For reference, Tyler Lockett is getting 16.7 that year. Yeah, it looks like in 2023, Jamal Adams is the second highest paid player on our team by far. Russell Wilson slated to earn $40,000 in 2023. Tyler Lockett is 16.75 million. DK Metcalf is probably going to be in that area of Tyler Lockett, but Jamal Adams is 18.1 2020. And then if you compare our other players, Charles Dunlap 4 million, Chris Carson 1.5 million, Dwayne Eskridge 1.6 million. Yeah, pretty much all our guys are just like around $1 million. So once we get to 2023 and we're paying Jamal Adams 18 million, we're fucked. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are fucked. We're already fucked this year, paying him $5 million. We're paying Jamal Adams $5 million this season. We're already fucked. You're completely fucked in the ass. We are completely fucked in the ass. We are paying Jamal Adams $5 million. Let's not forget that we're losing multiple draft picks, first rounders, and shit. And McDougal is probably just as good as Jamal so far from what we. 2022. The next season we lose $9 million, but we're saving $13 million. So we're saving $13 million, and if we cut Wilson next year, he has a $26 million dead money hit. So if we cut Wilson next year, we're only losing $13 million, even though we're saving 13. And the cap is supposed to, I guess, go up next season. I don't know. I'm not a goddamn mathematician, but it seems like we are preparing to cut Russell Wilson. Why the hell are we sitting on 13? We didn't sign Von Miller. Odell Beckham Jr. signed with the Rams. Get this. The Rams only had $3.1 million when they signed Odell. He had like 13.34 million. So we had like 10 million. We had over $10 million more than the. And we still lost Odell. What does that tell you? We didn't try to get Odell. We probably offered him like $2 million. Oh, $2 million guaranteed. And the Rams were like, that's stupid. We'll offer you 1.25 guaranteed, but we'll give you $3 million of incentives. even though that they don't have $4.25 million. So if they win the Super Bowl, you're gonna have to scramble to pay Odell the extra like $750,000 or whatever. I don't know the exact math, but the Rams signed Odell without even having enough pay him if he meets. And when they made that deal, we had over 10 million. We had over 13 million. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this team is not making any moves. We should have had KJ right, as far as I'm concerned. Should have not drafted like so shittily past like fucking 5 years. Eskridge, for example, it's like 5'9", like 170 pounds or something. He's on record saying in college that, oh, yeah, I got injured every single fucking year of my career. So I thought I should change my number so that it'll be like a fresh start, you know? I've been injured, had like serious injuries every single year of my college career. So I thought if I change my number senior year, that maybe I'll have a start. Why the fuck are the Seahawks spending their first pick on a 5'9" guy that weighs like 170 pounds and has multiple injuries in college? So many injuries that it's even reported in the news. Like, look it up. That he literally was like, I'm going to change my number from 7 to number 1 because, like, he was basically saying he was so superstitious about how fucking fragile he is and how he has the injury, like a major, like, season-ending injury every single fucking year of his entire 4 years in college, or 3 years for his senior year. And he was like, damn, I get injured every single fucking year. I'm going to change my number and maybe I'll have some better luck. How in the fuck do the Seahawks management or John Schneider and Pete Carroll, whoever's in charge, how the hell do they look at that and say, yeah, that's our guy. He's our guy. He's 5'9". He is injury prone. He can barely make it through a season in college football. And sure enough, the first fucking real NFL hit he takes, he's out for like 5 weeks. He has loss of vision. That's not Loss of vision is not normal for a fucking concussion. Losing your vision is not normal for a normal concussion. Like that sounds like a seizure or like a stroke or like permanent fucking brain damage. That's what we're dealing with. The fucking draft picks, like Wayne Eskridge. And then we have Rashad Penny. The biggest fucking pussy to ever be drafted in NFL history. This motherfucker cannot make it through fucking. Oh my god. He has a decent yards per attempt average, but the fact that he has like such a low amount of attempts, he's a complete bust. Like it's it's horrific. It's one of the worst fucking picks in probably the CX history. Um, so yeah, when you combine Rashad Penny and Wayne Eskridge, horrible draft picks, you're making things kind of hard for yourself. The last thing you can do is do a trade like Jamal Adams, where you're fucked. You are completely fucked. Like, you might as well bend over, put on handcuffs behind your back, strap it up to a fucking like crane or something, and just dangle like a retarded bitch. Like, I know that's harsh, but that's literally what the Seahawks did. Like, I cannot believe how stupid they are. So I guess I should wrap this up. I'm losing my train of thought. I think Green Bay will beat us just because they have a very good defense. I think they have a few injuries on defense, but I think they're still good enough that we will not really be able to put up enough. Best case scenario, I think we might win 24-22, but I think it'd be way more likely that we lose like 27 to 13, 17. I really just I don't think we're good enough to beat Packers, and it's a shame that the NFL won't uh, properly take care of this Aaron Rodgers situation. I think he's got a big advantage, be able to basically go 10 days straight without being tested, pop up, and like it never happened. I think that the refs are just going to let Green Bay Packers hold the offensive line. The Green Bay Packers offensive line probably going to be able to hold in every single fucking game. Rodgers, that offensive line holds on every single fucking play. I don't know why people don't talk about it, but so yeah, we have to go against that. Um, so unless we have some kind of crazy fluke plays where deflected balls, interception, our defense, and like broken play, DK or Tyler run touchdown like for 80 yards or something, we're gonna need some kind of heroic plays this game. And honestly, I think that we're almost in terms of like raw potential roster, but I think our coaching is starting to hold us back a little bit, and I don't think that we're going to be able to overcome our narrow-minded, boneheaded type of coaching to beat a team like that. I think we're going to see this day where we conservative, very predictable. Um, I think we're gonna have to. I think the only way we win the game is if Aaron Rodgers fucks up. Like, he'll probably have to have two interceptions, that or an interception and a fumble for us to even out. And I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say right now. I got a little sidetracked, long wind, but I guess the last thing I can say is that I think if we don't beat Green Bay, we're not going to make the playoffs. If you look at it statistically, well, let me look at our schedule. Not gonna. Let me actually look at. Let me drink my last beer. Okay, so let me be clear here. I'll be honest. When I predicted our schedule at the start of the season, I thought we would be 7-10. The main reason I believed we would be 7-10 is that I thought the 49ers would beat us twice. I thought that they were coming off a year. They're one of the most injured teams in NFL history. And I thought once they get healthy that they would just be a little bit better than us. I thought the 49ers beat us twice. Why I predicted first that we would be 7-10. Excuse me. Now that I know that the 49ers aren't good, that 7-10 is more looking like 9-8. So, but I really don't see even 9 if we. Okay, so we're at 3 wins right now. Let me predict what's going to happen. This is probably the most. Our next game against the Packers is probably the most important game in Russell Wilson history. It's not like a playoff game. Because I do believe that if we lose versus the Packers, we will not make the playoffs. And it's very likely that Russell will leave. And then all of a sudden it will make sense why we're saving a 13 signing Odell Beckham Jr. Signing KJ Wright. We're not doing anything. Basically, we're basically telling Russell Wilson to go fuck himself. That's a polite way to put it. You're telling Russell Wilson to go fuck himself based on sitting on. So, if we do lose to the Packers, which I think is likely, even though I really, really want us to win this. As a Seahawks fan, I do not want to lose Russell Wilson. If we lose Russell Wilson, I might not even follow this team in a year. We're probably going to be like 15. Like, seriously. We're going to fucking. If we lose Russell Wilson, and we have no first round pick, we are fucked. Completely fucked. So, I think we have maybe a 25% chance or 15 to 25% chance to beat the Packers. Um, and if we don't, I think the season's over. I don't think we'll make the playoffs. So let's say if we lose versus the Packers, we're still 3 wins. Cardinals, we lose that. At Washington, win. That's 4 wins. Versus 49, 5. Texans, or Packers. I'm just going to say the team name and then our amount of wins. Packers, 3. Cardinals, 3. Washington, 4. 49ers, 5. Texans, 6. Rams, 6. Bears. That's a coin flip. But I'm going to say Bears, 7. Lions, 8. Cardinals, 8. So if we lose versus Packers, we're probably 8 wins. If we win versus them, we're 9. And if we beat the Packers, we might win that last game against the Cardinals. Because, like, that would prove that we don't suck. So I think if we beat the Packers, we go 10-7. I think if we lose the Packers, we 8-9. And I think if we beat the Packers, we make the playoffs. I think if there's anything else I want to talk about. I mean, I'm very upset about the Odell Beckham Jr. thing because we are ranked dead last in the entire league. You're ranked 32 in plays per game, and we're like 3 behind like the second worst team. There's no gap like beyond like point like 5 or something other than us. Like we're an outlier. We're like the worst fucking team by far in plays per game. So feel like that was a little disappointing. Try to make him for Odell, especially because we had like $10 million. So that was a little slap in the face to the fans and to Wilson, our offense. In my opinion, this team will not be able to win without a third receiver. Even if we make the playoffs this year, the opposing defenses are going to be strong enough that I think that our offense is going to stutter and stall without a third receiver. I think I think we really need to have maybe Gerald Everett can develop into that. Maybe even Eskridge could develop into that. Like fuck, that would be beautiful. It's not like I fucking have anything against Eskridge. I would love for him to be a third threat, but realistically, it doesn't seem very likely. So I think Eskridge or Everett or Shane Waldron, they need to get their shit together. We need to not be for the next half of the season. We cannot be the fucking lowest team in the league for plays per game. That needs to change. Somehow our defense is ranked 8th in points allowed per game, but we're 31st in yards allowed. So, as others have said in some of those channels I mentioned at the start of the stream, and not to kiss their ass, but that's common sense. You cannot have an 8th ranked points per game defense with the 31st yards per allowed. 31st yards per game allowed defense. Something's gonna give. You're either gonna start allowing more points, or you're going to start allowing less yards. You're not gonna end the season 8th points allowed and 31st yards allowed. Something has to give. And that's common sense, but it's a really good point. Like, what the fuck? It's a really good point of what the fuck. Like, our defense is not making any sense. You know, we've played a few bad quarterbacks in the last few games. So, where are we playing next? We're playing the Green. Then we're playing the Cardinals. Yikes. 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 So yeah, after we play the Packers and the Cardinals, I think we'll have a much better idea of where defense really stands. If we take the average of those two games and project it to the playoffs, in relation to our offense, we might have a general idea if we could actually beat people in the playoffs. I think the way our defense performs against the Packers and the Cardinals is probably going to be what we're doing in the playoffs. So we're going to have really good defensive performance, and then we're going to have to. It's hard to even say that our offense will do good because honestly, it didn't make a hell of a lot of sense why we got rid of Schottenheimer. I think he had multiple franchise records. I think he has the most points. Think about it. He has the most points in Seahawks history. He has the most receptions in Seahawks history. That's Lockett. And he has the most yards in Seahawks history. That's Metcalf. So he set 3 fucking records for a franchise that's, you know, 20, 30, I don't know exactly when it started. It was probably over 30 years, I think. Oh, let me look it up. Fucking don't like not knowing shit. Seahawks down page. Seahawks franchise art? How do you even like up? So we started in 1976. So that's 24 or 34. We're looking at it like 54 years. Over 50 years of history. Jane Waldron, no, I'm sorry. Schottenheimer broke 50-year-old records with the most points scored by our offense in a single season, the most passing yards in a single season, or the most reception yards in a single season, Metcalf, the most reception numbers, like how many catches did he actually have? That's Lockett. There's 3 fucking franchise records set by Schottenheimer, and we're dealing with over 50 years of history. So to me, it's very puzzling or perplexing or hit me in the balls, call me fucking stupid name. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Why do we have an offensive coordinator that was one of the set a bunch of 50-year-old franchise records in his first season with us, and he gets dumped out? But we're just keeping our defense with our Ken Norton. We're keeping Ken Norton, who's we've been like on historical paces to be the worst defense on the in the NFL history. That's not that's not even news. Like it should be news. It should be news. Oh, you're on pace to be the worst defense in NFL history. But somehow Ken Norton gets away with that, and meanwhile Schottenheimer is setting franchise records. He's the one we get rid of. Something's going on here. It's something is very wrong with that whole situation. Maybe I'll end it on that. I think that there's something deeply wrong with the foundation of the management. Our, I think, I mean, I love Pete Carroll, but something is deeply wrong with what's happening right now. The last few years, I mean, we can even go back to not letting Lynch run goal line in 2014. We should have won the Super Bowl. And we can go back to 2012 where we were way better than the Falcons. And Darrell Belleville, a fucking chump, and we didn't score in the first half. um, this franchise has a long history under Carroll of having shitty defensive coordinators, having shitty offensive coordinators. Is that correct? Um, yes, I would say Darrell Belleville. I think if we had a really good offensive coordinator, we would have won a Super Bowl in 2012, 2013, and 2014. That's how good our fucking roster was. That's my opinion. Maybe we only win 2 out of 3. But there's no way in hell we should have only won 1 out of 3 when every single fucking year we had a Super Bowl caliber, a fucking Hall of Fame quarterback, and a legendary defense, one of the best in NFL. So at this point, you have to question why are we not getting better? We had 2012, which we probably should have won a Super Bowl. If you look at the amount, okay, let me look. Let me look at the amount of points we scored at the end of 2012. Seahawks 2012 schedule. I think we're averaging almost like 50 points a game, 2 games, and we already had like one of the defenses close streak. Yeah, so our last 4 games in 2012, which is Wilson's rookie season, we beat Arizona 58-0. We beat Buffalo 50-17. We beat San Francisco 42-13, and then we beat the Rams 20-13. So let me do the average 58. 50. I mean, the average score of these games is like 40 something to like 10 of our last 4 games of that game, or our last 4 games of that season. We went over 50 games, and then we won by over 20. Like, my point is, in 2012, Wilson's rookie season, we had scored over 50 points in our last 4 games going into the playoffs. Like, and we already had the best defense in the league, I believe. How can you make this the case that we shouldn't have won that Super Bowl? Well, I know how to make that case. We lost Atlanta 30-28 when I believe we didn't score a single point in the first half. Yeah, so at halftime we were down 0-20, and then we got to 28-27, beating them. They had a game field goal. If anyone says Darrell Belleville is a good offensive coordinator, I'm going to cite this game. How the fuck do you not score a single point in the first half, bitch? If you had one field goal, we would have won the game. Like, fuck off. Okay? So, yeah. That might be all I have to say. I'm trying to think if I have any last points. I'm very upset about not signing Odell. I'm very upset about not signing Kid. I'm very upset about signing um more than anything. I think I'm very upset just that the coaching staff with Pete Carroll going down. What the fuck are you doing? I didn't even mention LJ Collier. I didn't even mention all of your other shitty draft picks. I barely touched on Rashad Penny. I barely touched on fucking Eskridge. But heaven forbid, maybe Eskridge will defy his fucking 5'9", 170-pound injury-prone frame that he changed his number because he's so injury-prone. He publicly changed his number in college because he's superstitious how he always gets injured. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense why we would have signed him, even though he's like 5'9", 170 pounds and gets injured every fucking year. Yeah, I barely mentioned that. This is rough, man. I guess I'll end this. I'll end the stream like this. We have to beat Green Bay. If we do not beat Green Bay, we will not make the playoffs. In my opinion, there's a slight chance we'll make it if like the Vikings, if Kirk Cousins like breaks his fucking knee the next game or something like that, and I really think the Vikings are our biggest threat to steal our spot. But let's say the Saints fall out of contention somehow. It's unlikely. But yeah, let's say the Saints fall out of contention, then we would need fuck. I don't even know. All those teams just seem like fucking dog shit. So I think there's a chance we make the playoffs if the Saints somehow just lose every game for the rest of the season practically, and the Vikings have like if Kirk Cousins gets injured or something, or their lead running back got injured against us last season. What's his name? I don't remember the guy's name. Dalvin Cook. Yeah, if Dalvin Cook or Kirk Cousins gets injured and somehow for some reason I think the Saints are good enough that they're gonna be fine. So I shouldn't even really in my prediction. I think it's gonna come down to Vikings. I think we need more wins than the Vikings, but I think if we lose versus Green Bay, we're gonna have a tie for the amount of wins Vikings, like 8 or 9. And I think they're gonna win just from the tiebreak. But overall, I'm a little bit happy with how our team has performed, just in terms of spirit and stuff like that. Like, um, I'm pretty happy with our players, other than Jamal Adams. But I'm very unhappy with our coaches and our management. It just doesn't seem like they're. It seems like they're basically. It seems like they're literally saying "fuck you, Russell Wilson." It seems like they're saying "fuck you, Russell Wilson." We don't give a shit about how you do this season. Get out of here. From the way they've responded in their trades and their free agent acquisitions to how they ignore everything about winning. There's no single indication that the Seahawks management or the coaches have done anything other than say, fuck you, Russell Wilson. We're saving $13 million because we're going to trade your bitch ass to your bitch, like, type of thing. So, I think we're kind of at a crossroads where even if we do make the playoffs, unless we like win the Super Bowl, I think Russell's gonna have such a bad taste in his mouth that he's probably gonna leave after this. You put yourself in Russell's shoes. You're the most winningest. You have the most wins of any quarterback in NFL history for your amount of seasons or games played, whatever. You're the most winningest quarterback in NFL history. You're top 5 in quarterback rating. You're top 5 of touchdown to interception ratio. And touchdown to interception ratio and quarterback or passer rating, I should say. Both of those things, the guys that just recently passed you, Russell Wilson was number 2 in both touchdown ratio and passer rating. He was number 2 behind Aaron Rodgers before Patrick Mahomes and like like a few other guys like recently. Who's the Cowboys quarterback? Dak Prescott. Yeah, Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes like recently passed him, but I don't think they're gonna end their career higher than Wilson. So at the end of the day, Wilson might be top 2 or 3 in passer rating and touchdown to interception ratio. I think Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes are ahead of him now, but Mahomes has 10 interceptions this season. 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's getting into some Kaepernick type level shitty play. So I think at the end of the day, Wilson will be top 3, at least one of those categories, not both. And I think it'll be a damn shamed if our team does not try to keep him. Because in my opinion, if we do not keep Russell Wilson, we're looking at potentially a decade, 12 years of shitty fucking football. I do not understand why they're not spending that 13 million. I do not understand why they didn't sign KJ Wright. I do not understand why they didn't try to get anyone else on the offensive line. I do not understand why they didn't try to get anyone on the defensive line. It seems like they did the exact opposite of what I thought they should do in terms of this is the year. We already went all in on Jamal Adams. This is the year that we need to actually commit to try to win it. Because after the season, we're not going to be paying Jamal $5 million. We're going to be paying him $9 million. And then we're going to be paying him $16 million. And we're going to be paying him $24 million. This is the year. If you really thought Jamal Adams was going to work on the team, this was the season that we had to actually make it work. Or next season. But the way they're acting this season, just leaving Wilson out to dry, seems like they don't care about next season. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, honestly. They seem like a bunch of fucking crackheads. They seem like a bunch of fucking idiot crackheads or delusional old men. I cannot make sense of it. I cannot think of one logical reason why you would sign Jamal to this deal and then let Wilson hang out to dry, sit on $13 million. So, I guess the last thing I have to say is that if we do somehow beat Green Bay, fuck yeah. If we beat Green Bay, I think we have a chance to make the playoffs and keep Russell Wilson. I think if Green Bay don't make the playoffs and we lose Russell Wilson. So I think this next game is the most important game in Seahawks history with Russell and Pete, other than playoff games. Thank you. Thank you for listening. If anyone listens.